Hi, once again, welcome to CloudLab. My name is Marco Martinez, and this is part 3 of our ServiceNow multi-channel ticket follow-up system. And during part 3, we'll discuss about the technical diagrams, and we're showing the technical diagrams just to ensure the quality, the security, scalability, and all that by discussing about the components and how the components more or less work. Yeah, briefly. So briefly how the components work. So let's start with the easy part, the client, the user, and the portal. So during part 2, we discussed that the application, it's using a portal for interacting with the user, with basically with the administrator. So that part, again, yesterday was created, that part is created on React.js, and it's also using another Amazon service called AWS Amplify that provides security and interaction with different AWS services. So if our portal wants to make a request to our backend, that's done through an HTTPS POST request, a REST API call, and on that request, it's sending an authorization header with a token. If the application doesn't have that token, API GET will automatically reject that request. If we have a token, that token is sent to Cognito, and Cognito will validate that authorization token. So basically, in other words, we will deny or allow users based on that authorization token. If our user is allowed, API Gateway will trigger a lambda function. So we'll trigger and send the request on an event, and lambda function or micro function basically has a collection of events to query different services in Amazon. So for example, if our user wants to query our tickets historical, or basically or to pull a report for the last 10 days, it will send a post request. Cognito will validate that request, that authorization token on the header. API Gateway then will send that event to lambda function, or lambda function will do an event and query that database and respond with a JSON object. So again, very simple, and again, we have access to different databases and also a step function, and everything is secure on a security group. So our lambda function can only access and can only perform certain methods on those databases and step functions. So let's move out. Let's jump to our next technical diagram. And by the way, everything was designed on Draw.io. Again, very easy and friendly to use. So now let's go to, okay, this get tickets and queries. So this is how we're pulling things from ServiceNow. So let's start from the left side. So again, step functions, it's a way of controlling and also trying, and if we have an error, we can try catch, then do different things. It's like an automation tool for running services in Amazon. And for example, in this example, we are using a step function to run a lambda function, query ServiceNow, return those results into step functions, move a step down, and run another function, do some logic there, and loop if we have more tickets. So that's basically what we're doing with step functions. So if we start from the left, we have a CloudWatch event triggered that, for example, we can run this step function every minute, every hour, and so we can control it on a rate or a cron definition. So for example, here we have that we are running this step function every hour, so we're pulling information from ServiceNow every hour. And remember that we first have our user preferences, so we are first pulling what kind of information we want to pull from ServiceNow. So ServiceNow will respond with an object first, and on the first key, on the result key, we have an array of results. So if our array of results is larger than 0, if we have tickets available, then we will run this second function to basically compare against our database. So we are just first pulling the list of tickets, then we are comparing those tickets against of what we have in our database to see if the ticket was updated or not, and also to see if we have that user created in our users database. And if we don't have that user in our database, we will do another query in ServiceNow to get the user details. And we have Secrets Manager. So Secrets Manager, it's our secret store for storing the username and password of our REST API user. So again, everything it's wrapped in a security group. So every function has access to only the specified resources, and we are storing user and password information in a service specialized for that called Secrets Manager. So again, everything's very nice. And again, the advantages of using step functions is that we can actually catch and try if we have an error. So let's move to the final one. This one it's called scan dynamo database and call users. So again, it looks very similar. Let me zoom in. This is basically, yes, another step function that's again running on an event trigger, a CloudWatch event trigger. This one, it's normally running every 15 minutes. And again, what we're doing first is that we are scanning our backlog tickets or work in progress tickets. We're returning that result of tickets. We're first checking in to see if we have more than one ticket available to call back. Then we have another function that it's what we're doing is that, okay, we want to make sure that, okay, that ticket is still on the valid state and on the valid hold reason, and also to validate that, okay, if that user wants to be contacted, and also the contact preferences for that user. So let's say that our user, it's enabled, our user wants to be contacted back. Let's say that the ticket, once we pull that information from ServiceNow, that ticket's still valid, it still has the valid state and the valid hold reason. What we are doing is we're triggering an AWS Connect outbound call. And on the call flow, we're basically asking our user, okay, if your ticket's resolved, press 2. And if the user presses 2, we're triggering a lambda function to resolve the ticket in ServiceNow. And okay, we have more logic going on here. So for example, if the ticket runs, or actually we failed to contact the user more than 3 times, we're also resolving the ticket in ServiceNow. So again, we're using Secrets Manager to store our username and password for our user. But more or less, this is how the application is working when we're scanning our database for our backlog, and we're deciding to contact or not, don't contact the user, and update our databases based on the results or success or failures of that contact. So I hope that you like this video, and please like and subscribe, and we keep in touch. Bye bye.